Analyst of this episode of our breakfast show, Ambassador Mohammed Shazli. Thank you very much for being with us, sir.
Pleasure is all
and
mine.
A very
good
morning to you, sir. And we are going to start immediately, as we do have a lot of headlines as usual, and our first headlines are coming from Al-Ahram, where we read: enhancing cooperation with Russia in all fields. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi says the parliamentary ties are among the most important tools of the Egyptian-Russian approachment. And Matvienko praises Egypt's role in the region and its efforts to settle crises in the Middle East. A press conference at the parliament. Also from Al-Akhbar, we continue to read the same issue. Al-Sisi stresses the importance of the partnership with Russia in all fields. The chairwoman of the Russian Federation Council says Egypt carries out 90% from the measures of return of the troops. Al-Masri al-Yawm tackled also this important visit by this high-ranking Russian delegation. Matvienko says Egypt carried out 90% from the measures. The president meets with the chairwoman of the Russian Federation Council, stressing on the importance of enhancing partnership. And they had talks on a lot of issues, in specific the trade and economic ties, and they focused on the importance of holding the industrial zones and logistical centers in Egypt as good outlets for Russian products to reach Arab and African states. So this is not the first time to hear this statement in specific. Dr. Sahar Nasri said it when she was meeting with the German Egyptian Business Council while Angela Merkel was here, and also in Cyprus, as she was also there, speaking about the magnificent location of Egypt as the main gate to all Western products to Africa and the Arab world. First, sir, how do you see the timing of those visits, in specific the German and the Russian, to Egypt, and speaking about boosting bilateral ties and about the key role Egypt is playing in the Middle East region?
It's not only Russian and German. Mm-hmm. We have had also French, British, American. Mm-hmm. So this is a symptom of the aggressiveness and of the Egyptian foreign policy. Mm-hmm. At this juncture. Mm-hmm. We are spreading relations with all the major and effective countries on the international arena. Mm-hmm. Russia is a very important country on the international arena. Russia is a permanent member in the Security Council. Russia is a big economic potentate. Mm-hmm. Also in the field of technology, industry. All of these make Russia a very important player on the international arena. Also, Egypt has a legacy of relations with the Russians. Mm-hmm. Since the days of the Soviet Union, since the days of the 50s and 60s. We have been a major importer of Russian armaments. And we have returned again now to the Russian armaments. Our heavy industry in the 60s was built on Russian machinery and technology. So, I mean, this is nothing new for Egypt. Mm-hmm. To have strong relations with the Russians.
Yes. Sir, as you've kindly mentioned that our diplomacy is doing great and a lot of activities are taking place even as we speak. It's Sunday, tomorrow, inshallah. There are going to be very important meetings between our top diplomat Sameh Shukri and his European counterparts, in addition to the Secretary General of NATO, Jens Stoltenberg, and this is going to take place in Brussels. Shukri already headed to Brussels in preparation for those meetings. How do you see this in specific? Because when I'm speaking about the timing, I'm speaking about everybody all over the world, I think, is now expecting something new to happen from the relatively new American administration. And whenever it comes to the Middle East, Egypt should be involved. Agree?
Agree. The meetings in Brussels, let me first start with that. Also, the European Union is a very important player on the international arena.
And in the Middle East.
And in the Middle East, especially at this juncture where we have interests in tackling first of all, the problem of terrorism, and then the problem of the refugees that are causing very serious problems around the rim of the Mediterranean, and through the Mediterranean it spreads through all over Europe. The problem of the refugees was one of the main topics discussed with the German Chancellor Merkel, and you cannot really underestimate the seriousness of the problem of the refugees. The problem of refugees was one of the reasons that made the first crack in the front of the European Union.
Sure.
A part of the Brexit reasons is the fear,
the influx
of the problem of the refugees. The problem of refugees has security dimensions, has political dimensions. It has led
social.
And social. It has led to the rise of the extreme right in Europe. It has economic repercussions.
Sure.
So this is a very potent and serious problem that is facing the Europeans, and it's also facing us in the Middle East. We have also important economic issues to discuss with our European colleagues, and also something that I believe is not taking the proper interest, and that is the transfer of science and technology. And science and technology is the step towards affluence, strong economy, and Europeans have also a very strong scientific and technological base that we have to aim at.
I'm sorry for the interruption, sir, but exactly I believe in what you're saying, and when I knew that this giant, huge German company, which was responsible for upgrading and for the construction of the electricity stations here in Egypt, it signed a strategic partnership with one of the German ministries to support our vocational training and education here in Egypt. And I think that this is even more important, if not equally important.
Indeed.
With the electricity stations they are responsible for in their instruction and maintenance. Let's go to Al-Ahram once again to continue with our headlines. 6 directives by President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi during his meeting on Saturday with Prime Minister Engineer Sharif Ismail and senior officials, including ministers of finance, of the interior, of defense, of foreign affairs, civil aviation, justice, supply, trade, and chiefs of general intelligence and administrative bodies. Increasing the outlets that sell the basic goods in all government rates. The same issue is tackled in Al-Akhbar, increasing the outlets. And the president gives his directives regarding increasing foreign reserves without affecting the development process, providing Al-Arish families with their needs. Taking you to Al-Masri al-Yawm, as its main banner is tackling the same issue, an urgent surgery to cure the madness of prices. Al-Musalhi promises that the goods would be provided and that prices would be controlled. Presidential spokesperson Ambassador Ala Youssef said the meeting tackled government's efforts to provide citizens with basic food commodities at reasonable prices. To what extent do you think that it's important to let the layman in the street, the simple Egyptian citizen, feel that there are efforts exerted by the government to curb the hiking prices? As many would say, are saying that we are middle class, and those who are a little bit less than that are those who are going to pay the price for the IMF loans, for the harsh economic procedures we have been taking, and the rich are not going to feel anything regarding this, are not going to suffer any.
I mean, you've been speaking about the man in the street. The man in the street is society.
Yeah.
This is, we are talking about maybe 75 or 80% of
the Egyptian people.
Yeah. This is the bulk of the Egyptian people. This is what democracy is all about. Satisfying the majority. And when there is a crisis, an increase in price, everybody suffers, even the rich suffer. But there is a difference between giving up your daily caviar and taking something cheaper like saumon fumé, and the difference between giving up your loaf of bread.
Yes, sure.
The less fortunate people cannot afford to give much. If you take something from them, it really hurts.
Sure.
Maybe in the richer strata, it might annoy, but it will not pain them.
Yeah.
So it is very important to put into your consideration the effect on the less fortunate people who are the majority of the population. You need to, I mean, I don't, believe in those who say that Egypt is a poor country. Egypt is a very rich country. If you have read recently, about a couple of weeks ago, that the Egyptians have been the #1 buyers in the real estate in the Emirates. This shows that if you go to the malls and you see the people there, and you go to park your car, you hardly find a place to park. If you go in the summer to the resorts.
I beg your pardon, sir, but we are 92 millions.
Yes,
meaning that if there are 12 millions who are from this class, you are going to find those parks or those malls filled with people. But what about the 80 other millions?
That is what I'm trying to portray. That we need, it is not a matter of Egypt's poverty. It is a matter of
management.
How to manage your resources. And making a list of priorities. Let me tell you something that really I find distasteful.
Okay.
A couple of days ago, they inaugurated a new mall in Egypt where there is a skiing rink, and I mean, is this what we need at this juncture of time? Someone will tell me this is not Egyptian money, this is foreign investment. Okay, if we have foreign investment, we should direct it. I mean, we don't direct by decree. We direct by incentives, economic incentives, tax incentives. This is the way an economy works. There are priorities. There are things that have to be done first. This is the problem, in my humble opinion.
Taking you to Al-Ahram, where we read some regional news. Libya accuses Qatar and Turkey of supporting the militia that attacked the Oil Crescent. Libyan armed forces based in the east launched more airstrikes on Saturday against militia that seized oil terminals a day earlier. Don't you think that such announcements, sir, or statements should be based on documents. I mean, should be based on something tangible. I mean, how I can announce such things just as media reports or till the moment as rumors?
Let me tell you something first. I mean, if you look at the case of Libya, and if you look at the case even of Iraq and of Syria, and all, you know, all the problem points in the Middle East, you'll find that everybody is involved. I mean, why? I mean, point out Libya, point out
Turkey and Qatar. And because of this, I was asking about documents, about evidences.
Everybody.
This is very important. I cannot just say accusations or accuse a country of something major like that without a document, without something tangible.
First of all, you lose your credibility. And then on the other hand, you know, I believe that, you know, in all the crises we are suffering in the Arab world, we are always blaming, you know, international plots and blaming external forces. We have, first of all, allowed these external forces on the one hand, and on the other hand, I mean, it is our problem. I mean, these fighting factions are Libyans. We have to reach a consensus as Arabs.
Sure.
And stop destroying our own countries, and stop killing our own people, and stop the outflux of refugees from our countries because they feel threatened, that they feel
the Arab conflicts, sir, are the main issue long ago, even in the Palestinian cause. This is the main excuse all the time, or argument to be accurate, all the time is said by the Israelis, that who is going to be our partners if we are going to sit on a negotiating table, since there is no reconciliation among the Fatah and Hamas themselves.
Indeed.
This is, as you've kindly mentioned, one of the most important issues which should be solved first before going to blame any external intervention. And unfortunately, we do have a lot of other headlines, but Geneva, about Turkey, but sir, tomorrow is another day, and I think that these issues are going to continue with us for more days to come. We are crossing our fingers. We all hope that this Syria issue is going to have an end soon, sir.
I hope the Syria issue will have an end, the Iraq issue will have an end, the Libya issue will have an end.
I mean, in one yes or no question, the Geneva talks of today, do you think they are different?
No.
Well, Ambassador Mohammed Shazli, thank you very much for your input, sir. You are all the time enriching our episodes of our breakfast and our Press Digest. Have a very good day, sir. Tomorrow is another day. We are going to leave you with a promise to see you again in another episode of our breakfast.
Thank you very much indeed.
Well, by this we come to the end of our quick press review. Stay tuned on Nile TV International always for more. Right after the short break, we are going to be back with more. And stay tuned only on Nile TV International.